Okay, hello everybody. This is going to be your second lesson for evaluating expressions. And so we're going to fill in the notes that are on the back of your page on from your warm-up. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is that you always want to use parentheses, and then we're going to say this about 17 times in this lesson, when you're substituting. So once we're substituting, we want to put parentheses around it. Substituting means in this lesson, we're going to be taking numbers, plugging them into an expression, and then coming down to one number. So we're going to take numbers, we're going to plug them in, and then we're going to simplify it. Another thing to be careful of is that you have to put parentheses around the negatives or it will calculate them incorrectly. So if it says for this one, -3 in parentheses squared, that's -3 times -3, which is 9. And for the one that doesn't have parentheses, it's actually only squaring the 3. So it'd be negative and then 3 times 3, which would be -9. So always use parentheses for this. All right, so we're going to do a couple examples together. Order still matters. We're still going to follow order of operations, and we're going to substitute first. So we're going to plug in. It says evaluate AB squared when A is 2 and B is 4. So we're going to plug that in for A. We're going to use parentheses when we substitute, and then we're going to plug in 4. We're only going to put parentheses just around the number. So I'm going to plug in 2, and then B, and then squared. And then we're going to follow the order of operations. So we're going to look for grouping. We have parentheses, but there's no math operation happening in the parentheses. It's just a plain 2 and a plain 4. We are not going to look for exponents, and we definitely have one of those. So we're going to square the numbers. So 2 times 4 squared, which is 16. So this is going to simplify to 32. For the second one, we're going to use the same values. We're going to plug in 4 here, and we're going to plug in 2 for A. But because we're in the parentheses, we're going to have double ones. So we're going to have, basically we're multiplying A times B. So we're going to have 2 times 4. And then the original outside parenthesis, and then squared. And so for this, we actually have a G. We have stuff going on in parentheses. So we're going to multiply first. So that would be 8 squared, which is 64 for that one. So 32 for the first one, 64 for the next one. And then for this one, we're going to go ahead and plug in, same thing. This one is plugging in the A in 2 spots. So we're going to say 2, we're going to break everything else down. 2, 5, minus parentheses 2, another one, plus. And then 7 times 2. And then from there, we're going to go ahead and subtract. So that's going to be 2 times 3 squared, and then plus 14. So we'll have 3 squared, which is 9. So again, we're just kind of following through. You can even have, sometimes people like to have a little checklist that they're checking off things as they're doing them. We did the grouping, we checked our exponents. Now we're going to multiply or divide. This one we're multiplying. So we did that. Now there's no more multiplying left. And the last thing we're going to do is add them together. Okay, 2 more, and these ones involve fractions, but don't worry. And you can also use Desmos or your handheld calculator. You can use that anytime to check your answers. Desmos is really nice because you can plug in everything at once to do a check, but we want to make sure we always show our work. So there it goes here. So the 2 is going to go in for X. And for this one, the T is 4. So we're going to plug in T there. So we're going to have 2 to the third minus 4, parentheses, parentheses, 4 to the third plus 8, parentheses. And then we're going to do 1/8. Now inside the parentheses here, we can actually cube it before we subtract. So we're going to cube it. That's 8 minus 4. And then in this one over here, we're gonna cube the 4 before we add it. Because again, we want to follow the order even once we're in the grouping. 4 to the third power is 64. You can use your calculator too. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is 64. And now we can do our last step in each one. So we're going to bring down the 1/8. 8 minus 4 is 4. 64 plus 8 is 72. And when we get to this step, we can actually just plug everything directly into the calculator. So if I bring this up and I just type in 1/8 times 4, which is going to be a half, times 72, we get 36. And that one. Okay, the last one on here is going to be 8/3 n to the third power. So 8/3, don't be scared of the fraction, times n, which is 3/2, cubed. Excuse me, not squared. All right, so really we're doing 8/3 times something cubed. So we're going to deal with the cube first. With fractions, it might help you to do like repeated multiplication. So 8/3 times 3/2 times 3/2 times 3/2. And then we can actually multiply it all the way across. So we can do 8 times 3 times 3 times 3, which is 216. And then 3 times 2 times 2, oops. 3 times 2 times 2 times 2, which is 24. And then once you get it like this, you can actually just divide it in the calculator. 216 divided by 24, which simplifies to 9. So don't be so scared of the fractions on there. Okay, make sure to get your other work done as well today, and your CYU and your board work and all that. Have a great day.